When you flip a coin, it may land on heads or tails. There is a 50-50% chance for both, and that is generally where our focus lies, the end.
You see, the fun stuff happens in the air. When that coin is in the air, it is spinning, and the future is approaching you. And that sound, when it hits the ground and spins, something happens inside you. At that precise moment, you are getting a dopamine surge gushing through your neurons, and your body is anticipating a desired outcome. Heads, heads, heads. This innate desire to predict an outcome is not a new carrot in our farm. We have been doing it for years, centuries, and millennia, possibly. My point is that we love to predict, be it fortune, weather, or marriage. That is why astrology is like $1 billion industry. And sure, it has some survival value, but it has also had its fair share of negative impact on the world. Okay, so here's a simple thought experiment for you. How do you describe the now? The immediate response will be, well, what is happening at this very moment? But what moment? As soon as you say this very moment, it becomes the past. Between me asking you, you thinking, choosing the words, albeit subconsciously, and speaking them, that moment has passed, and you're using a reference to the past to explain the present. You could experiment the same with the future. We are consistently anticipating the next moment, both consciously and subconsciously. If you ask yourself, can you experience the moment before it arrives? And the immediate response is obviously no. But when you are really experiencing it, it is actually quite different. Let us go back to the coin flip example. When the coin is spinning on its axis, there is this feeling you get of the future constantly approaching you. It feels like you're heading for this moment that is arriving, but it melts into the present before touching your consciousness. Okay, so now you might be saying, cool, the future is a weird and fragile concept. So what? And to that I say, the individual has grown contemptuous of itself, not because we have stared at the mirror for too long, but perhaps because we haven't stared long enough. The hopes of a better future is not a new thing to humans. We have always looked up and wondered what is out there. We have always asked questions. It is this curiosity that has pushed the human race forward and has created some really bad things. And while on the forefront of that change might be only a few individuals, the desire to create better things, both for ourselves and around us, has percolated in every strata of our society, down to every individual. In our history, there have been a few people who have made remarkable strides in their respective fields, and from a very young age, we are expected to be like them. Work is described as the greatest part of our identity. For example, if someone asks, "Who are you?" the very first response is, "I am," insert your profession. Natural to human curiosity, we want to be better at the thing that is such a big part of our identities. We dream of a better man or woman, a flawless person, one that makes no mistake, in the modern sense makes millions of dollars, has respect from their peers and masses. And generally speaking, that is a great career goal to aspire to. Emphasis on career goals, not orienting your entire life around it. But that is precisely what has happened, and one of the factors that has contributed to this more than anything else is the internet. The internet has amplified voices to make it seem like everyone and their cat has their life together except you. This is false. It is not real. You are using moments of time perfectly crafted through a lens to appeal to people and comparing it to your reality, most of which is quote unquote basic. For most of my time, I believed that there are two kinds of people: ones that had it all together, the havers, if you will, or the haves, whatever, and the have nots. With pure persistence and hard work, they have made it to a place where all they do is good and so right that they must be worshipped. Every word that they must say should be dissected. Every advice they give must be integrated. If we even dream of becoming like them, we must do what they did. Again, not true. You think that you know a person just because you watch their videos or content, the values that they speak, they must strictly abide by. Surely you're not familiar with yourself when you said you would surely get that thing done and it's still lying in your to-do list like a rotten fish. The self-help industry was reported to be worth $11.6 billion in 2019. The industry should be renamed as, "Oh, let me kind you teach you how to make schedules so you can make $1 billion company, sir." Don't get me wrong, some of these videos do teach helpful habits that could potentially help a person, but they have major problems. They often provide vague and generalized answers to extremely nuanced and context dependent problems. Is meditating good habit? Sure. Is it going to change your life? Possibly. Is it going to sort your finances? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. The other fascinating problem with it is the way that this media is consumed. Oftentimes, we don't look up productivity videos because we are having problems regarding a topic. We do it because it is fun to watch them. It makes us feel smart, possessor of some mystical knowledge that we were previously oblivious to. It has become entertainment. Generally, it wouldn't be such a problem, but the fact that it shrouds us in an illusion that we are actually achieving something. In the truth, however, we really are static. We are relentlessly chasing a persona that does not exist. Does that remind you of something? You see, our need for certainty combined with our noggin's ability to assess and ascertain results, we are constantly running for more information, for more perspectives, and more thoughts. This creates the relentless chase. Constantly obsessing on something does not get you to greatness, it gets you to the asylum. Does this mean that you should throw progress out of the window? Absolutely not. There is great pleasure in learning to do something skillfully, but skill comes not from chasing after, but making consistent progress. And that isn't glamorous or adrenaline inducing. Most of the time, it's pretty normal. And see, that is the hard part. Because in the modern world, we are not fighting a war. Instead of aggressiveness, we need patience to sit and struggle a bit with our work. And if it is something that we enjoy or something we find meaning and beauty in, it becomes a little easier to do so. It will be a lot easier if you adopt the concept of development over improvement. A plant is not an improvement upon the seed from the plant's perspective, but simply a development. That is why we say a seed develops into a plant, not improves. And sure, that development might be useful from a human perspective, but from the plant's perspective, it is simply the next step in its life. It does not improve for the sake of improving. It does what is natural to itself. It grows. Ever since its inception, human life has yearned for freedom. From wars, from ignorance, from itself. We have challenged boundaries and have continued to push them towards what was formerly considered impossible. It deserves freedom from continuous pursuit of anxiety, from the need for control. It deserves freedom from a dream that does not exist.